If you love fresh, homegrown vegetables, but dread spending every weekend weeding, watering, or chasing pests, you're not alone. I get it. Who has the time? That's why today we're focusing on a low-effort, high-reward garden plan featuring what I call effortless performers. These are the varieties that keep producing, even when life gets busy. Over the years, I've tried hundreds of vegetables in my own backyard, and the ones that consistently thrive are the real MVPs. So whether you're a beginner or just prefer sipping coffee while your garden does the work, this plan is built for lazy but smart gardeners like us. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss future lazy gardening hacks and proven variety tips. If you want your garden to thrive without constant babysitting, this channel is where you'll find the guidance you need. Now, let's talk about choosing the right varieties. I always start with those that have been tested and awarded by the pros, like the Royal Horticultural Society's Award of Garden Merit or the All-America selections. These aren't just shiny badges, they're proof that the plants perform reliably across different soils, weather, and conditions. Especially in 2026, with hotter summers, unpredictable rains, and occasional droughts, picking resilient crops is more important than ever. That's why we're steering clear of delicate divans and focusing on tough, adaptable plants. And to make it easy, we're organizing our garden into 4 beds, each packed with dependable, high-performing varieties that save time and effort. All right, let's dive into Bed 1, the quick-win crops that give you fast, repeat harvests without tying you down. First up, we have lettuce salad bowl. This variety is a legend for a reason. It produces loose, tender leaves that you can cut and come again all season, so you're never short on fresh greens. One of the best things about it is its resistance to bolting. That's when lettuce shoots up a flower stalk and turns bitter, which means you get longer, more consistent harvests even as temperatures rise. Plant your seeds about 8 to 10 inches apart in well-drained soil and water regularly, but don't let it sit in soggy ground. And those pesky slugs? A simple beer trap keeps them at bay without any harsh chemicals. Nutritionally, this lettuce is packed with vitamins A and K, great for your eyes and bones. A quick favorite in my garden, mix the leaves with some feta, olives, and a squeeze of lemon for a refreshing Greek-style salad. For 2026, with warmer springs on the horizon, start your seeds indoors a few weeks earlier to get a jump on the season. Next, let's talk about Spinach Matador. This is a powerhouse for both flavor and resilience. It's slow to bolt and highly resistant to diseases like powdery and downy mildew, giving you a longer harvest window than most other spinach varieties. The leaves are dark green, pointed, and incredibly versatile, perfect for salads, smoothies, stir-fries, or even baking into a quiche. Sow the seeds directly into cool soil and thin them to about 6 inches apart for the best growth. Matador also tolerates cold better than most, which means you can overwinter it under a simple fleece cover. Packed with iron and antioxidants, it's a health booster in every bite. One of my favorite quick tricks, sauté it with garlic and spring onions for a simple, nutrient-rich side dish that's ready in minutes. Finally, Ishikura Bunching Onions round out Bed 1. These long, straight stems are cold-hardy and award-winning for a reason. Plant them in small clumps, and they require very little thinning, which makes them perfect for a low-maintenance garden. Use them fresh as scallions and salads, chop them into potato dishes, or toss them in stir-fries. They're versatile and flavorful. Nutritionally, they're rich in vitamin C and compounds that support immunity, making them as healthy as they are easy to grow. Together, these 3 crops give you a fast, continuous harvest that keeps your kitchen stocked without constant. All right, now let's get hands-on with sowing Bed 1 so you can see just how easy it is to get started. First, grab a standard seed tray and fill it with a good all-purpose potting mix. Nothing fancy, just something light, well-draining, and nutrient-rich. For each cell, drop 2 to 3 lettuce seeds, 2 to 3 spinach seeds, and for the bunching onions, 6 to 9 seeds in a small clump. Cover them lightly with soil, just enough to hide them, and water gently so you don't wash the seeds away. Labeling is key here. I can't stress it enough. Even with just 3 varieties, it's easy to lose track, so mark each row clearly. Place the tray in a warm spot indoors to encourage germination. Lettuce and spinach like a consistent room temperature, while onions are a bit more forgiving. Once you see sprouts, you can move them to a cold frame outside for hardening off, giving them a gentle introduction to the elements without shock. If frost is predicted, cover the tray with fleece or bubble wrap to keep those tender seedlings safe. In about 5 to 6 weeks, these hardy greens will be ready to plant out in your beds under cover. This simple process sets the stage for a successful, low-maintenance spring harvest, and the best part is how forgiving these crops are for beginners. Imagine cutting fresh leaves from your own garden in just over a month. It's that satisfying. Moving on to bed 2, our summer power crops. These are the heavy hitters that give you weighty harvests without constant babysitting. First up, Sungold tomatoes. These little golden gems are legendary for their incredible sweetness and reliable production. They resist common tomato diseases like blight, which means even if you occasionally forget to check, they bounce back. Plant them in full sun for maximum fruiting and stake or cage them to keep the vines upright. Pinch the side shoots to encourage stronger main stems and mulch around the base to retain moisture, especially important during hotter, drier summers like we're seeing in 2026. Nutritionally, these cherries are packed with lycopene, which supports heart health. One of my favorite ways to enjoy them is roasted with a drizzle of olive oil and a sprinkle of herbs, a simple, flavor-packed addition to pasta or salads. Next, we have Cobra climbing beans. These French snap beans are glossy, long-podded, and virtually effortless once they're up the poles. They have a long cropping period, so you can harvest for weeks on end. Set up a simple support structure, a pair of poles or an arch, and train the beans to climb. Pick them young to encourage more pods, and you'll be rewarded with a steady supply. High in fiber and perfect for digestion, they're versatile in the kitchen. My go-to? Steam them lightly and toss with a bit of butter or olive oil for a quick side dish that pairs with almost anything. Finally, Marketmore cucumbers round out this bed. These are reliable outdoor performers, producing straight, dark green fruits that rarely turn bitter, even with unpredictable weather. Train them up a trellis to save space and improve air circulation. Water at the base rather than overhead to prevent mildew and keep the soil consistently moist. Nutritionally, they're low in calories, rich in vitamin K, and perfect for summer hydration. I like slicing them into homemade tzatziki with yogurt, garlic, and a touch of lemon. Fresh, cooling, and effortless. Together, these 3 crops make bed 2 a summer powerhouse. Heavy yields, minimal fuss, and maximum flavor, giving you the best of the season without tying you to the garden. All right, now let's set up bed 2 for our summer power crops. Start with your seed trays and fill them with a light, nutrient-rich potting mix. For Sungold tomatoes, sow 1 to 2 seeds per cell, covering lightly with soil. Keep them in a warm, bright spot indoors until they germinate. They like consistent warmth to sprout quickly. For Cobra beans, sow seeds individually about 1 inch deep. And remember, these will eventually climb poles, so don't overcrowd. Marketmore cucumbers can be sown 2 to 3 per cell, just under a thin layer of soil. Water gently to avoid washing seeds away and label each tray clearly. Tomatoes and cucumbers benefit from a slightly higher temperature for germination, while beans are a little more forgiving. Once seedlings appear, thin to the strongest plant per cell and prepare for transplanting. A cold frame or greenhouse is perfect for hardening them off before planting out in full sun. For cucumbers and tomatoes, be ready to provide stakes or trellises once they move outdoors. It's part of keeping these vigorous plants happy and productive. Now let's move on to bed 3, our reliable staples, the foundational vegetables that keep your garden stocked and your meals covered. First, Flyaway carrots. These are top-notch for pest resistance, especially against carrot fly, which can ruin a crop if you're not careful. Sow the seeds directly into loose, well-prepared soil and thin the seedlings early so they have space to grow straight and strong. Covering the bed with fine netting helps keep pests at bay while still allowing sunlight and rain through. These carrots come out sweet, crunchy, and vibrantly orange, perfect for eating raw, roasting, or glazing. Speaking of which, a simple honey glaze brings out their natural sweetness and makes them irresistible. Plus, they're loaded with beta-carotene, supporting good vision and overall health. Next up, Boltardy beetroot. As the name suggests, this variety is slow to bolt, giving you a longer harvesting window than most beets. You can harvest young baby roots or let them grow to full size for storage. Their smooth, tender roots store exceptionally well, so you have access to fresh beets even after the main growing season.
Nutritionally, they're rich in folate and minerals, and roasting them with a little olive oil and goat's cheese creates a simple, flavorful side dish that never disappoints. Then we have Sturon onions, an absolute staple. These are renowned for their storage longevity, so plant them with a bit of space, around 4 inches apart, either as sets or from seed. Their sulfur compounds provide health benefits, supporting immunity and heart health, and in the kitchen, they're incredibly versatile. Caramelized for soups, slice into salads, or add depth to stews. Finally, Charlotte potatoes round out this bed. These waxy potatoes have a wonderful texture that holds up when boiled or roasted. Plant them once your early spring crops like kale or lettuce have cleared space. Earth them up as they grow to encourage tuber formation and keep them healthy. They have a rich, buttery flavor that elevates simple meals, and they're packed with potassium and other essential nutrients. Bed 3 is all about dependability. Crops that anchor your garden, deliver steady harvests, and provide both flavor and nutrition with minimal fuss.
Next, let's set up Bed 3, where our dependable staples grow: Flyaway carrots, Boltardy beetroot, Sturon onions, and Charlotte potatoes. For carrots and beetroot, sow seeds directly into seed trays or soil. Carrot seeds are tiny. Scatter lightly, cover with a thin layer of fine soil, and water gently. Beetroot seeds can be sown slightly deeper, 1 to 2 per hole. Thinning is key here. Once seedlings are a few inches tall, thin so each plant has room to grow straight, strong roots. Covering with netting keeps carrot fly and pests away while still letting sunlight through. Sturon onions can be sown in small clumps in trays or modules, just like Bed 1 onions. Space carefully and label. Potatoes, like Charlotte, are a bit different. You'll start with seed potatoes. Cut them into sections with at least 1 eye per piece and plant in deep trays or directly into soil for early sprouting. Keep all seedlings moist, avoid overwatering, and prepare for planting out once soil temperatures are suitable. Finally, let's look at Bed 4, our long-game brassica bed, designed for year-round nutrition and crops that thrive even in cold weather. Starting with Cavolo Nero kale, also known as black Tuscan kale. This variety is incredibly cold-hardy, able to survive frosts and even light snow, which makes it perfect for extending your harvest into winter. Harvest outer leaves as needed, allowing the inner leaves to keep growing, and you'll have a continuous supply. Not only does it add architectural beauty to your garden with its crinkled dark green leaves, but it's also packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. One of my favorite ways to enjoy it is a simple sauté with olive oil and garlic. Quick, nutritious, and delicious. Next is Greyhound cabbage, a classic AGM award winner that matures early and offers a long sowing window. Its pointed heads form quickly, giving you flexibility in planting times, and netting helps protect it from birds that love nibbling tender leaves. Use it in fresh slaws, stir-fries, or even braised dishes. It's versatile, crunchy, and full of vitamins that keep your meals healthy. Lastly, we have Claret sprouting broccoli. This purple sprouting broccoli is a high-value crop, often expensive in stores, but easy to grow at home with a bit of patience. Plant it in summer for a harvest that comes later in the season, and you'll be rewarded with tender, purple-tipped shoots that are loaded with antioxidants and flavor. Steam lightly or toss in stir-fries for a nutritious boost. Bed 4 keeps your garden productive through the colder months, giving you hardy, nutrient-rich vegetables that complement the quick winds of spring and the heavy hitters of summer. With these brassicas, your harvest extends from early spring right through to winter, making this a truly all-season garden. Setting up Bed 4 for our brassicas: Cavolo Nero kale, Greyhound cabbage, and Claret sprouting broccoli. For Cavolo Nero, sow seeds in seed trays or modules, covering lightly with soil. Keep in a warm spot indoors until seedlings are strong enough to handle cooler outdoor temperatures. Thin to 1 strong plant per cell before transplanting. Greyhound cabbage follows a similar method, sow 2 to 3 seeds per cell, then thin to the strongest plant. For Claret sprouting broccoli, sow seeds in small trays, 1 to 2 per module, keeping them warm for germination and well watered. Once seedlings have developed a couple of true leaves, start hardening off in a cold frame or protected outdoor area, gradually exposing them to outdoor conditions. Brassicas are tough, but frost protection like fleece can give them a gentle start and prevent shock. Label each tray clearly so you know what's what, and keep the soil evenly moist without overwatering. In a few weeks, these hardy crops will be ready to transplant into their final positions, setting you up for a productive, year-round harvest. Looking at the full plan as a whole, this setup is designed to give you a continuous harvest from spring all the way through winter. Each bed has a purpose: quick-win greens in spring, heavy-yielding summer crops, reliable staples for mid-season, and hardy brassicas for the colder months, so your garden never has empty patches and you're always picking something fresh. The timing of these crops is carefully balanced to reduce maintenance, meaning fewer gaps, less overlap, and no scrambling to harvest everything at once. Beyond saving time, this approach also saves money. Growing high-value crops like Sungold tomatoes or Claret broccoli at home means less reliance on expensive store-bought produce. And because the plan is organized, you won't get confused about what to sow, plant, or harvest next. Everything has its place. To make it even easier, our Garden Planner tool integrates your local weather and location, giving you personalized sowing, planting, and harvesting guides. You can see exactly when to start seeds indoors, when to plant out, and how to schedule your crop rotation. The planner is free to try for 7 days, no card needed, and you can print customized plans to keep right in your garden shed or on your fridge. Swap varieties, tweak layouts, or track your harvests. It's fully flexible, putting you in control without overwhelming you. This full system takes the guesswork out of gardening, giving you a simple, proven framework to grow nutrient-rich, productive beds with minimal effort all year round.
Before we wrap up, here are a few bonus tips for 2026 to take your garden to the next level. One trend I'm seeing is chaos planting, mixing in native plants and companion species with your vegetables. Not only does this create a more resilient ecosystem, but it also reduces maintenance, attracts beneficial insects, and can naturally deter pests. Speaking of resilience, always consider your local climate and mix in plants that are adapted to your conditions. It makes a huge difference during unpredictable weather. A few common mistakes to avoid: overwatering is one of the biggest killers for otherwise healthy crops, so always check soil moisture before adding water. Mulching is your best friend. It keeps roots cool, conserves moisture, suppresses weeds, and improves soil structure over time. I'd love to hear from you. Which of these effortless performers are you excited to try in your own garden? Drop a comment below with your favorites or any questions, and I'll be sure to reply. If this video inspired you, give it a like, share it with a fellow lazy gardener, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips, hacks, and full season garden plans. Thanks for joining me today on SproutCycle Garden. Happy growing, and I'll see you in the next one.